Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lexi and this is my channel. So in this clip, I have a 4-inch vanilla cake. I'm just adding some buttercream to the center and throwing a little bit of sprinkles in there, giving it a rough crumb coat. And yeah, that is all for this cake. It's super tiny and it was super hard to do, but as long as your cakes are chilled, you should be good to go, and it should be no problem. You just gotta play with it. This next cake I have is a 6-inch vanilla cake. It is filled with vanilla buttercream. The 4-inch cake was actually supposed to be a funfetti cake, and I totally forgot. That's why I just added sprinkles in the middle. And then this was going to be obviously the vanilla cake, so I just added vanilla buttercream. And again, I am just doing a rough crumb coat. I did everything this time in a fast speed because I feel like you guys have seen me do this a bunch of time in my videos, and sometimes it's kind of boring to watch it over and over, so that's why this is a little bit faster. This is an 8-inch chocolate cake. You can see I kind of leveled it just a little bit, and I am adding a chocolate cream to the center. You can see around the chocolate cream I put a buttercream border. This is so that the filling doesn't spread out, so that way when I do my crumb coat, it's not just chocolate everywhere, it's buttercream. So the buttercream that's kind of acts as a dam around the edges, it kind of holds in that chocolate cream, so that way it's not all over the place. Again, I give it a rough crumb coat and we are good to go. We're back to the 4-inch cake. I am giving it a final coat. When I do final coat, I make sure to have as much buttercream on there as I possibly can. That way when I scrape it with my bench scraper like I'm doing here, you don't see the cake through. Sometimes you still will, but that's okay. We are back to the 6-inch cake, giving it a final coat. Again, lots of buttercream. You just have to keep playing with it. I use my bench scraper, and you want to make a metal bench scraper. You can also dip this in hot water to give your sides a little bit more evenness and a smoother finish. My buttercream was giving me a lot of issues for this cake for some reason. There was a lot of air bubbles in it, no matter how slow I beat it in the mixer. But I just kept working with it over and over, and it worked. Here I am folding in some fondant. I'm rolling it out with a rolling pin to about 1/4 of an inch thickness. This time I used satinized fondant. I usually use Wilton fondant, but it wasn't available at the time. I like to, my cakes have been in the freezer, so I sprayed it with a little tiny bit, like a tiny bit of water, just so the fondant would adhere to it. I like this fondant. It's the first time using it. It is pretty stretchy and durable. You have to make sure you use a lot of cornstarch, which is what all the white stuff is on the black fondant. And then I use these fondant smoothers. I use fondant smoothers right here to help with sharp edges. As you can tell, when you first put the fondant on, it gives you kind of like a oval waterfall edge. I don't want that. I want a crisp, clean, sharp edge, sharp as a knife, and that's why I keep going over and over it with it. That was the 4-inch cake, and then this is the 8-inch cake, the bottom tier. So again, I just put the fondant on. You got to be gentle and careful with it to make sure that it doesn't tear in certain places. It's really hard to fix fondant when it tears. So again, use lots of cornstarch if it starts to get sticky. For some reason, this tier was giving me the most problem, or this layer was giving me the most problems. I keep adding cornstarch to it, but as you can see, I have super crisp edges. This is the middle tier, the 6-inch. I covered it in a light brown fondant. I covered it in light brown to make it act as an accent like brick wall, because I added a brick wall to it. So I wanted kind of like that brown background for that. I totally forgot at the end of this cake to film me stacking the cake, and It was because this was my daughter's cake and I was in such a hurry. So I apologize that the footage kind of ends after I put on edible images, but I had to hurry. I had to get the cake done. I have 3 kids, so it's really hard to get stuff done sometime. So that is completed. Here you'll see I took some darker brown fondant and I have just a cardboard 8-inch board. I wrap it in brown fondant. This is going to act as my roof to the top of that brown tier. It is an 8-inch cake board because the cake is a 6-inch. So I wanted it to be a little bit bigger and have a lip. So I just covered it with shortening. I put shortening all over it so that it adhered to the board. And then I just wrap it around. This is the easiest way I found possible to do it, and I love how it turned out. I ordered these edible images off Etsy. I can link who I got it from down in the bottom bar. And I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I was so thankful from who I ordered from because she had already pre-cut everything, so I just had to peel it off and put shortening on the back of it to adhere to it. Which is what I was doing. After I put the letters on, I decided that I didn't like how it was turning out. Um, I didn't like the fact that the O's still had the little white pieces in them, so I cut them out so that you could see the black background of the fondant, as you can see I'm doing right here. I really like how this turned out, and the edible images were amazing. I will definitely order from her again. So again, if you would like to know who or where I ordered those from, I will link it down in the description box below. So on the top tier, I have the Coco logo with the Coco flowers and the blue guitars on top. I really wanted to make this tier super, super simple. I wanted just the logo, and that was it. And I think it turned out pretty great. Alright, so for my middle tier, what I did is put these edible images of a brick wall. I don't show it in the video, but I took cocoa powder and outlined the images just to give it a little bit more darkness and depth.